Hello and welcome to Tell Us Your Effing Story, a BDC Partners podcast. BDC is a leading franchise and retail advisory firm, and our podcast is by franchisors for franchisors, where we go behind the scenes with some of the most interesting characters in the Australian franchising industry. So I'm your host, Bruce McFarlane, my co-host, John Sully, and today we're Dean Lightfoot, the area developer for Nautical Bowls. Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome, mate.
G'day, thanks.
Okay, now tell us your fucking story.
It's your franchising story. We've made that clear, so we don't need to know everything else you've been doing. But just your franchising story. So we're going to go right back. So we're going to start. So where did, we're up in Queensland. We're on tour. We're Melbourne based now. Tell us, are you a Queensland boy? You born and bred up here, or?
Yep, born in Sydney, then moved here when I was about 2.
Okay, so you grew up here, primary school and stuff.
Yeah, spent about 6 years in school in Germany.
Okay.
Yeah, and graduated high school over there and completed high school here as well.
So your family went over there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Took some time off and it was good. It's lovely.
So you speak under Deutsch?
Yeah, kann man Deutsch sprechen. Yeah. So I went there.
How did that happen?
Yeah.
Somebody for 6 years over there.
Yeah, it was on and off. So we moved there as a family. We went to England first and then moved to Germany. We were there for a year and a half, came back for 6 months and said, can we go back again?
Right.
So we went back again. And we lived in a little village, like 600 people tops in the whole area.
Wow.
And every village would have a couple of hundred.
Are your parents German or?
No, not at all.
So how did they end up?
I don't know.
What did you, work-wise or what?
No, my father retired early. And then I'm pretty sure he'd primed us and pre-programmed us to say where we wanted to live. Because I think they wanted to go to Germany. And then we said Germany.
That's very random.
Very random, especially in the late 80s.
Yeah, and they grew up here and born in Australia, were they?
Yeah.
And picked a little village in Germany.
Yeah, it was just, it was the best.
Fuck, that's bizarre, mate.
It was so good.
Yeah.
So
would have been brilliant.
Brothers and sisters or?
Sister.
Yeah, and how was she?
She's 1 year younger than me,
So you both did your schooling over there. So you roll up there, you don't speak German.
Nothing.
And what grade were you in when you got there?
Well, I left here in grade 6.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So you did all high school?
So it was high school, the first year of high school over there. And we were fluent within 3 months. Yeah.
How'd your parents go picking up?
Oh, slow.
Yeah, it's
so slow.
At that age, you're like little sponges,
Yeah.
So they've stuck it out for 6 years.
Yeah, well, it was on and off. So we'd come back here and we go, can we go back?
Oh, you liked it there?
Yeah, we loved it.
Yeah.
Because you'd get home, because school finishes at like 1:45.
But you started.
You'd go home and have like 7:45.
Yeah.
So it's not
Not too bad.
Yeah. But it was an hour and a bit bus trip to school because we lived so far out.
Right.
And then you come home, have lunch, and then you're free. And because you're so young and the village is so small, all the kids just
hang out,
did whatever.
So whereabouts? So it's a little village. Which part of Germany? What's the major? What's the nearest city?
Nearest city would be Landsberg am Lech, which would have about 60,000 people, and then closest to that would be Munich. Okay. So we're sort of an hour south of Munich. From the village we lived in.
An hour south. Oh, right. Yeah. So the border's only like a couple hours.
Yeah. So we could see the Alps from where we were, Italian and. Yeah.
I lived in Kitzbühel.
It's beautiful.
Oh, Kitzbühel.
Yeah.
Oh, it's beautiful.
I did a season at Kitzbühel, Kirchberg in this ski season. And
it's one of the best.
Yeah, Munich wasn't that. That whole region, though, it's so pretty through Austria and then into Germany.
Yeah.
Is that sort of Black Forest way down there as well?
Sort of.
So Black Forest is up a bit.
Further up,
But Kitzbühel's summer and winter is stunning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
really beautiful.
So what did your dad and mum, what did your dad do?
My father was a newsagent.
Right.
Yeah, in the 80s.
Right.
And did very well at it.
People bought newspapers.
Yeah.
They made money out of it.
Yeah, big time. Yeah, it was really, really, really good.
Where about, on the Gold Coast or?
Yeah, on the Gold Coast. So when you know how when you go to a newsagent and all the shelves are sort of stacked?
Yep.
That was his design because up until then it was just like, well, we have to see the whole newspaper, right? And the whole magazine. And my father's like, no.
Why?
Just see the label, whatever it is, and pick it up. And then so that way it could stack.
Yeah.
And then they charge for the ones that had the flat so you could see the full. And the magazine companies loved him because it just volume went through the roof. Yeah.
And so you had that. So you're in primary school then, so you're not really working in the business and stuff, but you're getting.
No, we were there every day, but we weren't working. Yeah. No, I was doing the paper. You know, we sell at the traffic lights and sell papers.
Yeah,
yeah.
Oh, yeah. So you've had a bit of entrepreneurial spirit back in the when you. Yeah,
I'm sure that'd be legal these days.
Yeah.
But so he was quite entrepreneurial, and your dad, if he was that his family background as well? Were they business owners, or he just got into it?
His mother and father came here from England.
Yeah.
And just worked, and started with nothing and just saved and worked, and then he moved up to Queensland because he's his employer at the time when he was a kid said, you need to come to Queensland. And this is in the 70s. And so he did, and he bought a block of flats at Burleigh Heads on the beach.
Yep.
Because he just, he worked full-time as a furniture removalist and used to play for Cronulla Sharks for a bit until his knee blew out. And then they decided to move up here. It was just the best decision.
Did you play footy?
No, I played basketball.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, they wanted me to play. I played AFL for a couple of 100 games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's enough.
Yeah. So when you're in Germany, what sport did you play there?
Basketball.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty big over there.
Yeah.
And skateboarding.
Oh,
back
really?
then, it was skateboarding.
That sounds like more of a
there.
Queensland thing than a German
Yeah, I know,
thing.
right? Yeah.
Because it's not that warm.
No, minus 20.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's freezing.
But in summer, you make the most of it because it's light till about 9:30 at night.
Yeah.
And we'd make our own half pipes, and the local builders would help us because it's a little village, so everyone sort of
knows each other.
Yeah.
Was that sort of snow territory? Is that
big time?
It snowed there a lot?
Yeah, we get snowed in. Yeah.
Wow.
In winter, it was freezing.
So you did that, and then back and forth, and then did you go to uni? Did you do?
Yeah, I went to uni here on the Gold Coast. Yeah.
What did you do there?
Just business. While I was also a Macca's manager full time.
Right.
Yeah. I was happy to pass and complete the content, and my father said, "Look, just get a piece of paper behind you, but work McDonald's," and that's where I learnt the most was McDonald's.
So just in a store level, like working your way up through.
Yeah, I started out casual, just out the back
part-time
doing
job.
dishes.
Yep. And that's your first taste of franchising, and
loved it.
Yeah,
I was obsessed. Literally, I do 16, 18-hour days.
So what did you like about you just being part of a team with all the young people? Because there's so much, they build such a good culture. My son's worked at Macca's now, and they build such a good culture, and they all have a lot of fun. And
in the 90s, McDonald's, I think, was a different beast, and it was just we were all trying to be the absolute best and compete against each other. Because, those days, there was no GYG, there was no Zambreros, there was no Subways. It was McDonald's, KFC, Hungry
Rooster.
Jack's, and Red Rooster, which was called something else back then, I think. Or was it Red Rooster?
There was. That was... how old are you? What are you?
50.
50, yeah, so I'm a bit older. So, it would have probably been around that time, Red Rooster.
Yeah, and so we were competing. So McDonald's back in those days, we were competing against the next McDonald's store.
Right.
We didn't have other brands that were competition.
Yeah.
So we just wanted to be the best. Yeah, and the culture was work hard and play very hard as well.
Mate, that's a lot of hours when you would have been 18,
all did it.
19,
we loved it.
20.
Loved it. Just our days off, we'd be there.
Yeah, right.
Your mate was opening. I'll come and help you when you're open today.
And so and they're all franchise stores that you worked in.
Yeah, I worked for a licensor. I did work for McCopco, the company.
Yeah.
Later on in my career with McDonald's.
Yeah.
But mainly licensee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So straight after that, you finish uni and get your piece of paper.
Which took a while because I
You're working all the time. That's right.
Wasn't the priority. Still playing a bit of basketball, a bit of footy.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And your sister, where's she at this stage? What's she doing?
Now?
Well, now?
Yeah, she's a hostie. Yeah.
Right.
Are you allowed to say that still these days?
Yeah.
A flight hostess person?
Does she sing on a plane? If she doesn't, we know someone who does.
Yeah.
Okay, so she went to uni or did anything like that after?
No, she did some TAFE courses. She travelled a lot. She had the travel bug. She worked in Spain and worked on cruise liners and just travelled. Yeah. Enjoyed life. Yeah.
See what a great upbringing though, coming back and forth, back and forth from there. Did you have lots of mates that you still keep in contact with from that little town?
Oh yeah, so my best friend is in Germany, and we used to live in each other's pockets, and we'd skate 20 k's to school instead of catching the bus. So we'd get on our decks and just skate away.
Yeah,
we'd have dinner at my house every night, and then dinner at his house as well.
Yeah,
so the parents always had two sittings. But yeah, when you're doing so much exercise, it doesn't matter.
You burn it off.
Yeah.
And you got out of, after all your Macca's stuff, bit of time in the media. So you worked Austereo, is that right? Or
yeah, I was with Austereo for not too long.
Yeah, out of franchising for a little bit.
Yeah, I went
back in.
When I left McDonald's, I went to Europe for a little bit and worked in Germany with a friend's company, and then came back and I worked at CFM for a bit.
Yeah.
And then 3 years with a company called Newman International, importing steel and wire, and I just got along really well with the lady who owned the company and just stayed there because I was having fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then back into franchising. So became...
Yeah.
So then back... So was your franchisee, was that next?
Subway, yeah.
Subway,
2003.
So you bought your first franchise?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, West End.
Yep.
Yeah, just here around the corner.
Yep. Yeah. So what, deciding to be entrepreneurial yourself, like, you're working for other people up until this point.
Yeah.
Big leap of faith, to buy a franchise.
Yeah. Subway was up and coming then. There was about 200 and something stores.
Yep.
Maybe 250. And, our Subway meetings we'd have Subway. That's how, it was just 20 or 30 of us at a meeting. For me, I just felt that it was a great brand with a great healthy product that was a whole different dimension to McDonald's. And I felt, the amount of hours and what I've learnt from McDonald's, I can transfer this all into Subway.
Apply that everywhere.
Yeah.
Yep. And so as a franchisee, you've gone and bought... So that's a pretty low entry cost, isn't it, to buy into a Subway?
Back then it was. I think I paid $150 for the store at West End. Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
And I just walked in and shook the guy's hand, who's still a mate today.
So you bought an existing store?
Yeah, I bought an existing store.
Rather than a greenfield?
Yeah. Back then, it was incredibly hard to get a greenfields if you weren't in the system already.
Yeah.
And Subway said, "Oh, you're on the list." And so I started going to the meetings, as in the area meetings they'd have once a month. And they said, "You can go. You've applied. We've approved you as a franchisee." So I went to the meetings and I met some franchisees. And one guy said, "Oh yeah, we're selling our store at West End." I said, "Fantastic. Let me come and look at it." And we just did the deal there. And then I didn't look at the books. Nothing.
Really?
No.
Due diligence. That was it. No,
and trading well? Was it trading well? Or you didn't know until you opened it?
It was trading. I could see opportunity.
Yeah.
When you've worked a lot in franchising or in food, you can walk into a shop and know what's happening. You can feel, okay, this, and this needs to happen. This is the gap. And I just did it, and we took it over straight away as soon as we could with Subway's process, and just ramped sales up and then sold it.
So how long did you have that one for?
12 months.
Okay.
Yeah, and then during that period, I also bought another one on the Gold Coast at Christine Corner.
And you're living down there or up here?
No, Gold Coast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you bought your first business up here, coming up 12 months.
Yeah.
Then you had two. Is that like at Subway? Is that an easy process? It seems like there's lots of multi units.
I think it's that model you really need to go multi. You can do quite well if you work 7 days a week in your own store. And in the end, that's what I was doing with my last store before I left. And it was just, you weren't firefighting or I need to spend time here, I need to spend time managing people here or at this store. You're just in your one shop and you can do quite well. And sometimes some franchisees would make more money in that one store as opposed to having three. But it depended on what's your goal. Is it capital growth or is it annual income?
Yeah. So what are they easy to run? Are they pretty easy?
I think they are.
Right.
But I was coming from McDonald's where you had 120 casuals, 8 managers, drive-through.
Lots of things going on.
Yeah, and back in those days when the cheeseburger was $1.25, we were doing 100 grand weeks, 120 grand a week.
Fuck.
Yeah, so we were pumping numbers through the stores. It was crazy.
Jesus, mate.
Yeah.
And so what, being a franchisee, you're following a system and, but you've been at probably the benchmark system. Obviously Subway's a great system as well, an American one, but did you, you're pretty entrepreneurial. How did you go when did you start pushing the boundaries as to how to run things, or you're pretty compliant?
I wrote a training program.
Yeah.
Because back in those days, it was, you got the Red Bible, the book.
Yeah.
And that was your training material. And I'm training a 14-year-old kid. I can't give them the book. And
was it very American too? Or was it still the original?
Yeah, and I was all in ounces and it wasn't.
Hadn't been Aussieified.
No, and it was early days. But we wrote a training program, and I wanted to make sure that it was documented like we did at Macca's. So they had an SPC station or an SRC station observation checklist, and they could sign up. Yep, I've been trained on this. Okay, the manager needs to follow up. Then the owner needs to follow up, and I just couldn't help myself. I knew we needed those forms and processes in store. Yeah. Yeah,
they look fairly easy to run from the outside. I mean, it's in and out, and so West End.
Yep.
Gold Coast.
Yep.
Then what?
Oh, then another Gold Coast store we opened at Palm Beach.
So you said you have this one for 12 months?
Yep.
So built it up, flicked it?
Yep.
What'd you sell it for?
Oh, 200 or 220 or something.
Yeah, so you made
return.
Yeah, I mean, we did, whenever I'd buy a store, because I used to try and buy the worst store I could find, and then I'd just invest in it. Yeah. I'd spend 20 grand on signage.
Yeah.
I'd spend 10 grand on advertising and marketing. I'd really hire some fantastic staff, focus on cleanliness, customer service, just drill that in,
stuff. Yeah.
And it would just work.
Yeah.
It's just...
It's amazing, isn't it?
It's not rocket science. It's just smile,
I know.
speak to how's your day going? You know, our stuff now at Nautical Bowls, it's like, who pays your wages? The customer does. So they are your best friend. Just love them and look after them.
Exactly.
Ask some basic questions. Yeah.
So did you have, was Gold Coast and this one at the same time?
Yes.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah.
And you flicked that, and then Gold Coast, you bought something else.
Then we opened up another store at Palm Beach.
Yep.
Yeah. And then we started buying some stores in Brisbane and opening new stores in Brisbane.
Right.
Yeah.
So what was the most you had at one time?
6, I think.
Yeah. Oh, so you had
5 or 6, yeah.
Yeah. So you're just driving around between them?
No, we sort of. We had an area manager.
Yep.
And then I had an ops manager who she'd run the office and bookkeeping side, and she started with us as a casual at Christine Corner when she was about 16. And she's still doing work for me today at Nautical Bowls. But we also had a side business. We'd supply Blockbuster with all their take-home sleeves. Some people might not know what Blockbuster is, but...
Yeah, the good old days.
Yeah, so the DVD, you'd have a sleeve inside it.
Yeah, yeah.
So we used to print and run those for Blockbuster.
Oh.
Yeah.
Fucking hell, you're into everything there.
So but as a franchisee, multi-unit franchisee, you get to a point, don't you, where you're building your own infrastructure.
Yes.
Around that.
Yeah.
So why did you start selling them and getting out of them?
I had been doing it by that time for about 8 or 9 years.
Yep.
When we started to sell down. I probably had done my time.
Yep.
In the brand. I'd been on local boards and other boards with the brand, and I'd earned what I'd wanted to earn out of it, and I was probably getting tired.
Yep. So how was your relationship with the franchisor at this stage?
Oh, great.
It's still good?
Fantastic. Yeah. Very good.
Because you've and all the ones that you bought, so you didn't open, did you open any greenfields, or were they all just,
Yeah, so Palm Beach was greenfield.
Yep.
East Brisbane, Bulimba was greenfield. Capalaba was just a local little store we turned into a drive-through.
Yep.
Yeah, and Alex Hills was greenfield as well.
And so your philosophy on the turnaround, so buy one that's not going so well and clean it all up.
Yeah.
What about greenfield? So what was the eye for the location?
Opportunity. Yeah. Just seeing a gap.
You were trying to find the sites.
Yeah.
Driving around and
back in those days, most of the Subway franchisees were driving around.
Yeah.
Looking for sites because it was a hot brand to buy into, and Fred had made it affordable. The franchise fee, including training and legals, was 12.5.
Yeah.
And it's not much more today.
Yeah.
It's an affordable brand, and you can run it.
And it's not that much to open the sites as well. Like how to fit out a new.
Now I think it's maybe 300.
Yeah.
300.
Yeah, it's still pretty good.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
So this is 8-9 years, I think you said. So you're sort of 2010, 11, around that
Starting
time.
to sell down. Yeah.
One at a time. Just.
Yeah.
This one's on the market.
Yeah.
This one's
and
on
we
the
bought
market.
one during that time as well because it was an opportunity. I won't say a bad store. It was just an opportunity. And the first day I owned it, almost every single piece of equipment blew up. Literally walked in. Okay, great, new store.
Yeah.
Poof, poof, poof.
It's a sign.
So we said, okay, let's gut it out the front and remodel it and build it again. And that was about 30 days later. But now sales doubled. So from buying the store at $7,000 a week, we were at 14s within 2 months.
Yeah, that's great.
And it was a new shop.
Yeah.
And I always say, staff the store for the sales you want to do. Because then if you're delivering that clean, fast customer service, locals, they want to get in and out. They're at lunchtime or on their way somewhere. If you do an amazing job, they're going to keep coming back and you'll do the sales. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So then what was next?
Well, before I go to that, so you won some awards as well. So when you're a franchisee, yeah. So you obviously going pretty well, being recognised as part of the network and stuff like that. So congratulations, and that was part of a strategy as well, like entering those, or was it just they nominated you?
No, you were just nominated.
Yeah,
and I think it was data based.
Yeah,
yeah. So they'd see your wiser sales reports.
Yeah.
And then it was just like, okay, who's got the highest sales growth?
Did you ever know that from the other franchisees? Was there sharing of KPIs or?
Yeah, we'd always talk.
Right.
Oh, but it wasn't
competitive.
Nothing official, like we were talking before about Baker's Delight, how they, everyone's revenue when you go to a conference at Baker's Delight, you're wearing a tag with all your numbers on it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so people can say, "Oh, fuck your shit."
Oh, wow.
Or whatever, which is great.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a bit like Smorgon Steel. They'd have their weekly reports up behind their head, and all their data's there, and everyone's looking at each other's results.
Yeah.
Wow.
We were, because the conference we were running yesterday, we're talking about that, about transparency of numbers and stuff like that, and to allow you're a franchisee, but to allow franchisors to really support their franchisees, to really understand not just top line, but bottom line as well, and all of pieces in between, but then each franchisee also understanding how each other's going.
Yeah. Fantastic.
So we had a sales ladder that would come out. Yeah. I think when it started out at Subway, it'd have the sales number there, so you could see what we're all doing.
Yeah.
But I think they dropped that very quickly because it would get out into the ether. So you just see the chart, and we all knew what position, roughly what sales you were doing.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, okay.
And then back to Europe. So once you sold?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I stayed here and did shop fitting for a while with some other guys, and then went to Europe.
Can I ask who that was with up here? Because I feel like I've met you before somewhere.
Did you just go to the Valley a lot?
No.
Oh, okay.
But what was the shop fitting? Are you allowed to say? Can you say the shop fitting company?
Oh, I can't even remember.
Right. Okay.
Names.
Just anyone.
I just fell into it. Someone said, because I used to do a lot of the work in my own shops.
Yeah.
And I was really good friends with a lot of franchisees. Oh, Dean, when you fix this, I said, I'll come and have it. I just did it for them.
Yeah, right.
And then I just did it for some other people. And then, just fell into it.
When did you learn to do that shit?
Learning by doing, as the Germans would say.
Learning by doing.
Yeah. And I went and got a qualification and a Cert 4 in construction and restricted to shop fitting and all that sort of stuff. But
because you got plenty of time on your hands. Yeah. Why not do that as well?
So why back to Europe? Just
my wife's Austrian.
Oh, okay.
And the first day I met her on the first date, I said, just so you know, one day I'm moving to Germany with my children. You have to be okay with that.
So she's from here, though.
Yeah, she's born and bred in Australia, but her parents are Austrian.
Yeah,
through and through.
So you packed up and went to Germany to live.
Yeah.
How many kids at that point?
3.
3.
Yeah, 3 girls.
Nice.
Yeah.
And so you and how long did it last?
Year and a half.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. Best time of my life.
Oh, but then why come back?
Money.
You can make more money.
Children. Yeah, I needed to work again.
Children. You weren't working.
I was working I did some consulting work for GLG.
Yeah.
And that was easy. That was online, phone calls, report writing.
Throughout Europe, or?
Yeah, it would be European companies looking at franchising. Sometimes it'd be Australian companies because the advisory isn't restricted to a zone. And then I was just working for a friend of ours, had a local little bus company and a VW dealership. And in Germany, kids have to, if you live in the little villages, there's a legal obligation for the government to then pick that child up and take them to their school. They can't be left because they also need to get taken home.
Right.
Because in Germany, they call them, from a very young age, like grade 2 or 3, they're called Schlüsselkinder. And that's children that have a key to the house. When they get home, there's no one home because mum and dad are at work.
Mm.
But in grade 2 or 3, they're fine to unlock the door. There'll be a meal for them to eat. They'll do their homework, go and play, and then their parents will come home from work. So they need to have buses to take those people, take the children to and from school. So they had 80 of these little VW buses. But I used to drive people with disabilities, adults, into their workplace. So I'd pick about 6 of them up from their homes, escort them into the transporter, and then take them to this workplace. In Bavaria, if you have a disability, they have to provide these workshops where people can have employment. So they get paid, but also on site as doctors, nurses, rehab,
Yeah, all the support.
Everything's there.
Yep.
So if you're a sort of a person, you know, with a disability where you love putting together microchips, or you love making guitars, or you love putting together timber, or you love sewing or whatever, they'll find a local company that does that service. They'll get subsidised, and then these people all come in and do that task in this big, you know, there'd be 300 or 400 of them in this one place.
That's fantastic.
They'd get a meal. They had purpose, so they have to be up because I'm going to pick them up at 7:30.
Yeah.
So be ready for work. So, you know, they go home and they feel like they've achieved something for the day. But also there's social interaction. The rehab's there. They can monitor them. It's exactly. It's a beautiful system. That's a shame we don't have. We might have it,
Have
but
you
I
seen
don't.
that replicated anywhere else?
No, I haven't.
That's
I haven't.
pretty fucking cool.
Yeah, really, really good. Yeah. Everyone wins
Costly.
out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Really good system.
So then,
yeah.
and back to Australia, and so this is so you worked for an employer, and then you're a franchisee, and so you're a business owner, and now you've had a few different roles with franchisors in BDM type roles. So you know,
I was lucky I had an interview with Baskin Robbins whilst I was still in Germany.
Yep.
And was able to get the job, which I was very appreciative of.
Yep.
And landed back here, and I think I started a week after we landed at Baskin's.
Yep.
As a BDM, and then went into area development for the brand, which was great. Yeah.
So you, with the area development role, so you're running just for a region, or for you got the whole
Australia,
for the whole country? Yeah.
Yeah. So construction, leasing, new franchisees, development.
Yep.
Yeah.
How many outlets did you open during that time? Like,
I don't think we might have opened during that time 5 or 6.
Yep.
Which was pretty low, but we had to reassess the corporate store network that we had at that time, and we needed to close some stores because they didn't make sense. So there was a lot involved in that, and then there was a lot of transfers. So a lot of people exiting and a lot of people entering. And I think, what's the life cycle, 7 years in franchising now? 6 or 7 years?
Most agreements are 5, and leases are 5, so people are out a couple of years later.
And there was just a lot of turnover from people who'd been with the brand for 10, 20 years. And it's like, you know what? Remodel's due. Everything's changing a little bit. I think I might sell my store. Which was great because we had a lot of applicants for the brand at Baskin's because it's such a legacy brand. And it's got a close connection with a lot of people emotionally because they remember going there as a kid, and then they're taking their kids. And one of the great things about Baskin Robbins was they'd say that, you know, we're there to put smiles on people's faces. Maybe they had a bad day and they just need an ice cream, or maybe they're there to celebrate something. So it was always an occasion in that brand, which is a good way.
Was there some history around that time where, do they take the master back from someone?
They did.
Was that around that time?
No, that was about 4 or 5 years before me. Maybe 6. And that's when the US stepped in, Duncan Brands.
Yes.
And rescued the brand over here.
Yep.
And then also the Galadari family from Dubai, who there are over 1,000 outlets now in the MENA region. They took on the market as a JV.
Yep.
That still stands today. So at that time I was reporting through my GM, Ben, back to Dubai because they ran this market and still do. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And then out of that into still in franchising, but not food. You're out of food for a first time.
Yeah.
So Anderson, how did you end up there?
Through a connection, and there was an opportunity, and Baskin's wanted to shift for a little bit. So I'm like, great, it's good timing. And then I worked with Rowan Hodge, and I learned a lot from him. And I think we put in 27 new franchisees in 3 years.
What's the business?
Anderson's Flooring.
Right.
It's carpet flooring.
A family-owned business that's probably. So we built the 4th or 5th biggest one, was it? At the time, the carpet court.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Like Flooring
maybe
Extra.
3rd or 4th.
Yeah. So it's a direct competitor
Big
of Scott's.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Big legacy brand around since the 50s, and the Andersons network had most franchisees were 20 years plus. Lovely group of people, good morals, family values, a lot of family working together in the brand. But yeah, it was a great franchising is franchising. If you're selling a car or a carpet or food, it's all about people. It's not really about the product. It's about, well, how do we help you sell this product as people?
Whatever the widget.
Yeah. If we respect each other and get along and give you the tools necessary, then we can achieve it. Doesn't matter what we're doing. And then with that brand, we started growing it, or nationally, better said, but not long after COVID hit. So, and that was a good time for flooring because they called it resortification of the home.
Yes.
And everyone was renovating.
Yeah.
And I was still allowed to travel most of the time with it. And
you weren't locked down like us, though, mate.
No. I don't know how you survived it.
It's a lot of alcohol.
I think we were locked down maybe on the Gold Coast for like 4 days or something.
Yeah, I think there was that first one that everyone had.
Yeah. 2 weeks or 3 weeks, yeah.
But I put on 5 kilos during that period.
Really?
Yeah. I was never thin, but now I'm a fat fuck.
Yeah, but
So for how long were you there for? You got
3 years.
Right, okay.
3 years, yeah.
All the way through to COVID. At the end of COVID.
End of COVID, yeah.
And so you've got a national role, travelling around opening sites and stuff like that.
Yep.
So with the footprint, they've got like 50 odd stores, haven't they? Is that
52? I think. Yeah.
And so you're just developing it, like finding new ones, or did you have a role with?
So we did a full rebrand of the stores as well because they were a bit old.
Yep.
So Rowan and I worked on what we called Image 2025, and then rolled that out through most of the stores and obviously all new stores. And then it was a focus on. I had a great training team that we worked together. We reported together because with 27 new franchisees and new systems and processes, we need to spend time in training and support.
Yep.
And both of those gentlemen are close friends today still, because they're just like, go and do what you need to do. And it's like, no, we report to you. I said, no, you know what you're doing. Just go and do it. If you need a hand, give me a call.
Yeah, that's good.
Otherwise, just do your thing. Because I don't know. You're the flooring experts. You do and tell me what you need to do. And there was that mutual respect and trust. It's like, just go forth. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, and the same with our training manager we've got now. It's like, I don't want to know where you are. Don't feel if you need half a day off to tell me. Just do what you need to do and make sure you're the best at it.
Well, that's all reflected in sales, isn't it, anyhow? If there's any...
You hope so, yeah. Yeah.
So when did all this start?
So your little stint at Gelatissimo and then,
Yeah, great time there.
Yeah.
With Anthony, lovely guy, and the staff, John and so on. And this was presented to me. So Peter called me from the US. The first phone call I got was through his person in Australia. And I said, mate, no way. I've got some people you might want to talk to, but there's no chance I'm doing this. Are you sure? I said, no way. It's a US brand coming to Australia. It's been done that many times. No. And he calls me another week or two later. Dean, I said, look, there's only one way this will work. Australia's a different market to the US. You need to, or if Peter wants to talk to me about this, he needs to know that I'm not reporting to anyone. I'm not going to get approvals for anything. We'll stay in line with the brand. We'll follow, the brand guidelines and all that sort of stuff. But we'll do a bit of different fit out. We're going to do new products. We're going to have different marketing strategies. And then Peter called me a couple of days later.
And Peter is the founder or someone?
Peter's one of the co-founders of the brand.
Right.
And at the time was the CEO of the brand in the US. And he now just focuses on international markets.
And so what does the US look like for these guys? How many stores? And
76 or 78 trading.
Right. West
and
Coast,
190
East Coast, everywhere.
Yeah, everywhere.
Yep.
And about 190 franchises sold.
Right.
Yeah. So, yeah.
And so that, which is quite young for a US brand to be sort of going global. Is Australia? How many other markets?
Just Australia.
Yeah. And why were they so keen? They've approached you, so why were they so keen to come here when it's such a small market, so far away?
Peter built Snap Fitness.
Yeah.
And so for him, it was about, okay, the US, we've got our framework. What are we waiting for? Let's go. And so he spent about 6 months with his guy here looking for people that they wanted. They wanted someone who had been a franchisee, who'd worked for a franchisor, and who'd had other roles.
Yeah.
So that it wasn't just this one-sided, I'm a franchisor and this is what I know how to do. I guess for me, I've been the franchisee. worked for licensees in the McDonald's system,
Operated stores.
seeing both sides, national development in leasing and construction and whatever else there is. So for me, I can go into a store, and this morning at 6 o'clock, I was mounting a touchscreen kiosk at the Surfers Paradise store because it hadn't been done properly, and connecting them. But you know, as a franchisor, you probably need to know as much as possible so that your franchisees go, hey, he's there on his knees on the tools doing stuff. And then I ended up serving customers for an hour, and, you know, it's just what you do.
Engaged.
Yeah.
And so your strategy, though, is to franchise straight away, not...
Yeah, we've already got franchisees.
Yeah, but not run your own stores. So
yeah, we've got 4 of our own stores.
Oh, 4 of your own.
Yeah, so we opened 3 about 12 months ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they've been running.
So they're you own them?
Yep.
Or yeah.
Yeah.
And in JV with the
No.
US?
No.
Yours.
They're our stores. So we have an area developer agreement.
Yep.
And so Peter's technically the franchisor in Australia with me because I'm a director with him.
Yep.
And then we've got our area developer agreement for our individual company.
Yep.
And then we've got a sub area developer in Perth, Gordon, and he's highly experienced. Built the Zambrero brand over in WA.
Yep.
And so he's had 2 people sign up recently, and their stores will open in February, March. We've just signed a lease this week for the CB. So there'll be 3 in Perth. Yeah.
And what is it, mate? What is it exactly? Is it just acai bowls, or you've got and more on the shirt?
Yeah, it is acai bowls. The difference with us, and it's one of the reasons why I was happy with the brand, is that we have mango, coconut sorbet, and then we have the acai, and then it's a meal replacement. And then now we're just introducing acai soft serves. So we've got the dessert element as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Soft serves as in ice cream or the yogurt? Frozen
No,
yogurt?
just acai.
Right.
That's it.
All right.
Just pure acai. Yeah. So it's the highest content. It's fair trade approved product.
Yeah.
It's just a beautiful quality dessert or meal, whatever you want to call it, snack. We get a lot of school kids in the afternoons grabbing a snack because we serve a smaller bowl for $12. And then the acai soft serve for $12 in a cup with some granola, strawberries, and honey or something. Yeah. It's just... I asked my girls before we went ahead with it all, and they're like, oh, Dad, we want to try and eat healthier. And we love going and sitting down somewhere and eating something that tastes nice and it's healthy.
Yeah.
It's a shift.
And how are they trading?
Yeah, they're doing well.
How's it going?
They're doing... When you go to West End today, you'll see we're in a construction site. Literally, the gantry's here and our shop front's here. So it's like jackhammers, noise.
Great.
It's just... But in a couple months' time, that all gets lifted and we've got beautiful gardens there, a big restaurant in front of us, seating, dining. It was a long-term... West Village is hard to get into as a retailer. It's okay, we're going to...
Is it quite strong around this area, is it?
West Village?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
a lot of people go there because there's a lot of parking. There's about 3 stories of car parking underneath.
Right.
Yeah. So, yeah. And the Gold Coast stores, we just did a influencer campaign last weekend to open up the Surfers Paradise store.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That worked?
I think it's over 500,000 views and 70,000 likes or something.
Shit, that's good.
And I was at one of the stores this morning helping again. And every second person was, I saw this on TikTok last night. Right. So, yeah.
And do you, before, like, getting into the brand, like with your due diligence on the product and comparing the product to what's in the market?
Yeah, I went to the US, obviously, and spent a week there.
Yeah, we'll spend some time over there and training
spent
and stuff.
time with Peter, and Peter and the trainer came over to Australia to open.
Yep.
So they were here for a week before we opened.
Yep.
And stayed for a couple of days afterwards just to make sure everything was set up. And my due diligence was really going to the US and forming a relationship more than anything.
Yep.
The product I needed to taste and test and push and pull.
Yep.
And visit stores and
And now looking at the Australian market, we've talked about this, that the products have to adapt a little bit, like in terms of these are the ones that aren't really selling here in this market, and this is. Have you got Australian only products now as well, or?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
So we just launched matcha and strawberry.
Yeah.
And it's taken about 6 months to manufacture and get it right. Because a lot of testing. This social media influencer that did it with us, Jazz Handmade, she approached us about 7 or 8 months ago. She was a customer. And she goes, I love this. Can we do something together? And I said, we'll create a bowl. So she did. It was a matcha and strawberry bowl with acai on top. And now we've got new bowls coming out. We just redid our menu with 4 new bowls, a Bondi bowl, a Burley bowl, trying to Australianize it and create some Australian flavour. And we're about to bring out the Beach Day bowl and then there's a special Christmas bowl coming out as well.
Good timing for that.
And that's the point of difference for me between other acai brands. Is acai is a great product. How do we differentiate? Well, let's have some different flavors and LTOs, and how do we drive customers in? Yeah.
Who's the crowd the American crowd that are out here?
Oakberry.
Oakberry.
They're Brazilian company. Yeah.
Brazilian, are they?
Yeah.
Fuck, I thought they were in the States for some reason. That good product?
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's space. It's like saying, well, you've got McDonald's, so no one else can have hamburgers.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like,
yeah, well, that's right. It's
just got to do it well.
If someone does it well, then you can have a couple of competitors, and you know, like
you can all live harmoniously.
Someone might, you know, in Boost Juice sort of took out some of the competitors, but in others, you can have 3 or 4 really good ones.
Yeah, and the great thing is,
mate.
the great thing is in the US, private equity is starting to get involved in a lot of big brands over there, for serious, you know, hundreds of millions sort of level. And for us, that was okay. We've de-risked the space, the category. If private equity and others are investing, there's a long-term play. It's not like 12 months, we're done. They're 4 or 5 years, and typically they'll sell to another private equity or do something else. And then Oakberry raised a lot of money over in Brazil as well.
Did they?
To support their growth, and they're doing great. They're going through all countries. They've got a lot of sites around the world.
So what's been the biggest challenge now taking on this role compared to being, you know, an employee? You're back in a business owner role. Yeah. You know, so what's been the hard parts?
Supply chain's probably been the toughest.
Yep.
Because we didn't want to import the product. We wanted to control our supply chain. Yep. I didn't want that risk of freight and fuel and prices going crazy. And so we initially were going with the boutique firm who could make our products for us the way we wanted, because that's just what they do. Beautiful. And it took us 6 months to work with our local manufacturer to get it right, because there can't be any processed sugars. It can't be refined. It can't be, you know, it all has to be natural or organic. That's it. So our mango, we put turmeric in it to give it an orange pop. Our blue magic, we put in blue spirulina to give it a bit more blue.
Right.
So we can't do dab a bit of E447 colouring to make that look better.
Yeah.
It has to be natural.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's been a challenge because no one had the product we wanted in the market. So we had to get it manufactured.
Yeah, that would have been a process.
And a costly one.
So 4 stores, company owned.
Yes.
How many, and a couple opening in Perth.
Yes.
How many other are open at the moment?
So Surfers Paradise just opened, franchised.
Right, yeah.
Harbour Town on the Gold Coast is about to open, franchised.
Yep.
Sydney, we're just waiting for the lease to be signed off on. I've signed another lease in Sydney in Rouse Hill.
Yep.
With their expansion in 2026.
Yep.
And we've just had some site inspections today in Melbourne with some franchise applicants we have.
Great.
Yeah.
Good on you.
So we should be at 12 by March.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, that's good, mate. That's exciting stuff.
Yeah.
Are you enjoying it? Are you like? Is your head stop spinning?
No, my head is no. And sometimes when you get so busy, people are like, "Why don't you get back to me?" I'm like, "I am getting back to you. I'm trying. My email's at 260. I'm getting back to you. Yeah. And it's just sometimes you just have to prioritize.
And are they mainly franchise inquiries, or are they?
No, franchise inquiries. I call them within 10 minutes to an hour.
Yeah.
Because if they've inquired with me, they want information. So I'll send them typically an email, and following the franchising code of conduct rules, and give them all the disclosures, and then have a phone call with them and answer questions. And then this is why we've brought on Claire, our ops manager and training manager, so that she can look after. Because I can't say to someone, "Hey, invest in our franchise. Who's going to support me while you're building the brand?" Oh, I'll come and see you. It's like, no. So we invested in someone early before we had a franchise store.
Yep.
We've got a franchise training manager to support our franchisees straight away from day one.
Yep.
I can't say, well, my number's at 15 stores and then we can afford. So no, they've afforded to invest in us. So we only need to invest in them from day one.
Yeah, got to do it the right way.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very good.
It's all about training.
So a lot of the people that listen to our podcast, the 3 or 4 people that will listen to this when we get there.
Hi, Mike. Hi, Sully.
We'll say hi to them all individually.
Hi, Mum.
We met one of them yesterday. She's very excited.
That's right.
There are a lot of people thinking of franchising or emerging franchisors. And so do you have, you've been on both sides. You've been a franchisee, franchisor side of things. Do you have any tips for potential for franchisors?
Just be passionate about what you're doing, and then it will just work. I think if you believe in your product and what you're doing, you're putting franchisees first. It'll. I've always said in any brand, if our franchisees are happy and doing well, by default we're going to do well. It's it's not a hard sum.
Yeah. But it's exactly like it's at scale exactly what you were doing at Subway, where you're just going in, cleaning it, make sure everyone knows what they're doing, good product, good service, blah blah blah. I'll let it go.
Yeah. And I say to the new kids, if we had another Acai shop down the road that sold an average product, more expensive, and has amazing customer service, if we don't have amazing customer service but we've got the best product, we're going to lose.
Yep.
We need to have the best product, the best customer service, the best experience.
Yep.
Everything.
It's the old Cheers mentality, that when Norm would walk into the bar and everyone's yelling out Norm.
Yeah.
That's what we used to talk about that at Michelle's all the time.
Yeah.
How you create that, because that product was okay, but it's not going to have a massive amount of loyalty. So
okay.
I agree with what you're saying. 100%.
Yeah.
It's good.
Definitely. Yeah.
Good on you.
Cool. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
And thank you for the 3 people listening to our BDC podcast. If you enjoyed what you heard today, remember to like and subscribe. Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Thanks, mate.
Thanks, mate. That's great. Well done.
Thanks for coming in.
Thank you. It's awkward having a conversation, not asking you questions about yourselves.
Yeah, it's all one way.
Feels strange.